Should you buy a house now in Chattanooga, Tennessee, or wait? Welcome back. This is Robert C. Baker with Move to Chattanooga and Crye-Leike Realtors, where we teach you everything you need to know about relocating to Chattanooga, Tennessee. You know, folks are asking, should I buy a house now in Chattanooga, Tennessee? And as I reflect on 2021, I think about all the folks from California, Idaho, Massachusetts, the DC area, New York State, who've contacted me over the year, thinking about moving or relocating to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and all the financial reasons for doing so. When you have a chance, check out my video, 5 Money Reasons to Move to Tennessee. Should you buy a house now in Chattanooga? Let's discuss that. But before we do, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos. Practically everyone knows that home prices have gone up tremendously the past couple of years. Maybe you've been looking for a new home yourself. Maybe you have refinanced your mortgage, or perhaps you have received a comparative market analysis from your real estate agent and are delighted at how much equity you now have. Now, the economic reasons for such a steep increase in home prices are pretty simple. Low interest rates have fueled buyer demand, and that coupled with low inventory has caused prices to rise. Econ 101, low inventory, high demand, higher prices. And so with all those things in the background, people are asking themselves, should I buy now? Before I help you answer that, let's talk about 2 aspects of buyer psychology. Now, full disclosure, I'm neither a psychiatrist nor a psychologist, nor do I play one on TV, but I do know a little bit about buyer psychology, and there are 2 kinds of fear that buyers have when it pertains to price. Both of these fears can be labeled with the acronym FOMO. The first kind of FOMO is fear of missing out. Now, in my lay opinion, this is a kind of buyer anxiety that folks have when they're presented with a really good price. And instead of thinking things through, going through all the numbers, people will make a rash decision because they're afraid that that good price is going to go away. And sometimes they're really disappointed with the result. The second kind of FOMO is fear of making an offer, and in this instance, buyers convince themselves, often without proof, that there is some sort of better price far off in the future. And so what do? They wait, they stall, they freeze. Some people believe the hype that there's going to be a great real estate market crash like there was in 2008, 2009, but that's not going to happen. See my video on this channel, Housing Bubble, Housing Crash 2021. And if they don't believe that there's going to be a great real estate market crash where they literally could pick up a home for pennies on the dollar, then they may believe that the real estate market is going to burst. That's also not going to happen. Let me tell you a true story. A couple of days ago, I went to a local grocery store and locked my keys in my truck. Now, if you've ever locked your keys in your car, you know how frustrating and irritating that can be. So I pulled up my phone, called a locksmith, and he was able to get the door open in a couple of minutes. And as he was putting away his tools, we had a brief conversation about the financial markets. He told me that several years ago, when Bitcoin was only $2,000, he and his wife had a conversation about buying some. Of course, Bitcoin is about $61,000 here at the end of October 2021. But my locksmith and his wife decided not to purchase Bitcoin at $2,000 because she believed that the price would go down. She had, at the time, FOMO, fear of making an offer, believing for whatever reason that they would get a better price in the future. A lot of potential home buyers are like that in this market. They've seen the low inventory, they know about the rising prices, but for whatever reason, they believe that they can get a better deal if they wait. So they do nothing. Thing is, interest rates are going to rise. For a while now, the U.S. Federal Reserve has artificially suppressed interest rates in order to service the federal debt. But that is quickly coming to a close, and we anticipate that mortgage interest rates are going to rise as early as spring of 2022. Lower interest rates have benefited real estate. More buyers have been brought into the market. Sellers have been pleased with the list prices of their homes. And folks who have decided to stay put are pleased with the amount of equity that they now have. Now, interest rates, including mortgage interest rates, are going to rise just a little bit, and that's going to be a tiny damper on the real estate market. But what's going to support current prices, in fact, continue that upward push in prices, although probably not at the pace that we've seen previously, is sustained low inventory. And that's not going to change for 2 reasons. First, not enough new homes are being built. CNBC had an article in September based on data provided by Realtor.com showing that the U.S. is short more than 5 million houses and that the deficit had gone up 1.4 million since 2019. Reasons? There are many, but let's just say that COVID-19 didn't help things when it came to supply chain issues, people being out of work, and so on. Second, the federal government has shown a tendency to kick the can down the road concerning folks behind on their mortgages. At the beginning of October, the Federal Housing Administration announced new and extended relief for folks who are newly affected by the pandemic, specifically those making new requests for forbearance, and for folks utilizing home equity conversion mortgages, sometimes called reverse mortgages. Now, some provisions of this new relief will allow borrowers another 12 months of relief. So if folks were hoping that we'd see a ton of new inventory coming to the market because of foreclosures, this is not going to happen. To summarize, we have a serious inventory deficit, not enough new homes being built, and federal efforts still in play, allowing folks to stay in their homes through mortgage forbearance. So regardless if interest rates, including mortgage interest rates, go up in 2022, which they most certainly will, continued low inventory is going to support current prices. In fact, we'll continue to see prices go up, but not at the rate that we've seen previously. Long story short, if you want a house, the best price can be achieved in today's market, not tomorrow's. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. As a friendly reminder, you can get a free copy of my Move to Chattanooga Relocation Guide by clicking on the link in the description.